All right then, everybody. Are we refueled, rested, raring to go for the afternoon, yeah? Yeah? Hands up if you did manage to get an ice cream off the JH stand. Yeah. We'll sort the rest of you out this afternoon. Just got to give it some time to cool down properly. So yeah, we're back. We've got 2 sets of 3 sessions this afternoon. Then there'll be a break in the middle about 3 o'clock, and then we'll have our final kind of wrap-up sessions at the very end of the day. Again, it started after lunch is Phil Draper, General Manager, EMEA at Digital, the all-in-one customer experience platform for growth-minded marketers. Now, you know, Phil's an experienced sales, marketing and creative professional with a passion for helping companies and individuals achieve their ambitions. And he's worked extensively within the agency and e-commerce sector for over 25 years. You know, a real stalwart here that, you know, we can get to learn from today. So here with some ideas about customer engagement, please give a real warm welcome to Phil.
Thank you, Joe. Hey, everybody. How are you? Everyone? Hey, gents. Right, who had the gnocchi? Let's do a show of hands. Who had the gnocchi? Yeah, it was pretty good, wasn't it, that? Good food. Well done, Jamie. Okay, so I'm here today to talk to you about beyond the browsing, how to turn your websites to engagement hubs. Now, as the introduction says, I'm Phil Draper. I'm the General Manager for Digital. But I'm just going to have a quick show of hands, right? Because I know we've all had lunch. It's hot out there. Who has heard of Digital? Few are. Look at that. This is my kind of crowd here. Now, keep your hands in the air if you're a Digital customer or partner. Look at this. This is incredible. Right. Well, thank you very much for your trade. Thank you very much for your partnership. Now, there were a few people that did put their hands down, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about Digital, just because it will help give context that we're going to talk about. So we're a customer experience and data platform with an engagement focus. We are Adobe's first and chosen marketing partner. We've got hundreds of Magento customers from people like you in the room, which is fantastic. We're about 500 people strong. We're based in the UK with headquarters in London Bridge. We acquired Fresh Relevance a few months ago. So we've got some scale, which is good. Now, to make that pertinent for the people in the room, we tried and tested, and we make sure our customers make sure they've got maximizing their revenue opportunities. Now, what do I do? So I'm the general manager. I look after the sales, the customer success, the professional services. Before I did that, I was the marketing guy. Before I did that, I was the design guy. Which is why I'm the only person at Digital with an Apple, which is why Fresh Kicks, Air Trainer 3s, if anybody knows them. Oh yeah, I've got a reputation to maintain. And why you're going to have plenty of over-the-top, unnecessary animations and transitions in this PowerPoint. If you like any of them, I do take whoops and hollers, that's fine. But hopefully it helps paint the story of how we can help. I also look after the marketing. And what's pertinent, that's the more serious, pertinent part, is when I looked after the marketing for Digital, and I still look after the marketing because you've been to our summits and Dotties, those teams report into me. I know the challenges that you face. I know it's tough, right? I've burnt the midnight oil, I still do. Trying to find a way to stretch budget to try and make sure people are happy, debating, arguing with stakeholders. It's tough. It's really, really tough. And I don't think there is a silver bullet. For me, there's no shortcut. Right? There's never a shortcut in life, is there? Right? If you want results, you've got to work hard. There's no shortcut. AI is part of the start of the solution, but it's certainly not the full answer. For me, it's this. You've got to start by harnessing the customer data, using the right tools and tactics, and then personalizing the experience. Right? That sounds pretty easy, but it's not. It's not that easy, but it is possible. And if it's possible, you can also get some good returns. Right, so just to unpack this a little bit, right, this is the Magento event, right? We know we've all got websites, but I see it a little bit like this. The role of the website has changed. It was once the place that supported the high street stores. Now, I bet you it's your main flagship store. It's your main revenue driver, I would expect. And that is a huge change. But its change has been more than just the contribution it makes to your bottom line. It's also been in every touch point along the way, which is why it's not a website, why it should be, I think, referred to as an engagement hub. It's your brand. It's probably maybe the first touch point, certainly probably the most frequently visited touch point. It's where most marketing points to, more info, www, right? Customer research is done on the website. Intent to purchase gets hardened there. Your sales go there. Your leftover inventory goes there. If customers have a problem, it's no longer the store assistant. It's the AI chatbot. It's the customer success team. Website is central to everything, which is why it's not a website, why it's an engagement hub. Now, if we look at this in a simplified way, I think we can look at it like this. Back in the day, you had a merchant and a customer. And this relationship was probably owned by you guys, the merchant. One directional, put our product in the shop window, send an email 5 o'clock on Thursday, job done. But actually, as things have moved on, it's changed. It's become two-way. So this is obviously best defined probably by a triggered email campaign. It's a two-way relationship. And to complete that maturity, it's now the other way around. The customer owns this experience. They are in control. Very often, the merchant is a servant to the customer. And it's even more complicated than that. And this is where you get unnecessary PowerPoint transitions. Oh, it's only a small thing, but I like it. I could talk for ages. It's called the morph transition. It does wonders. Anyway, the point would here be is that as the customer owns the experience, you also cannot guarantee their attention. The battle for attention gets more and more and more. Even the website is no longer as simple as it was because the search has become so powerful, so dominant on the website experience. With their free time, social channels popping up all the time. You've got TV, new channels. God knows how many of these I'm subscribed to, but it seems like about 5 or 6. I've still only got 24 hours in a day. And of course, last but not least, you've got gaming, you've got other distractions in mobile phones, connections, all the rest of it. The attention is difficult to get. Which is why, to take advantage of this, you need these things. You need customer data, smart tactics, and smart tech, and even smarter tactics. And to do that, I believe you get to the engagement hub, you get to a website which can deepen engagements, build more loyalty, and also convert that to revenue. Okay. So here's an interesting point. This is about, there's no silver bullet, there's no quick fix. This is about what we can do in our control to increase our revenue. So we're going to start by looking at the things that are already available. So this 100%. I don't think I'm going on a limb here to say 100%, because I'm sure everybody here who's a merchant has an e-commerce store. In fact, I bet you'd be 100% Magento stores. So that's obviously, that's a given. That's a given. Now let's look to see what tactics and what tech are being used on top of this. So these statistics from internet retailing, 71% of retailers have product recommendations. Now, I don't know about you. My grey hair means I've been doing this for quite a while, and product recommendations have been doing this as long as I have. But for only 71% of retailers to have product recommendations, seems quite low to me. Now, I'm sure that number is higher for the people in the room. But if you are competing with other retailers, it is a chance to catch up, take over, increase your lead by putting in tactics which we know about. Like this is better basics, this is no quick fix, this is things we know about, implemented well with customer data to give yourself a sustainable advantage. Now, the one I think is really interesting here is site search. 15% of retailers, we believe at the moment, from internet retailer, are optimizing their site search. 15%. Put another way, because I know it's after lunch, we're all getting tired, 85% of people are not, right? That is huge. I was speaking to a retailer just the other day, and this retailer is large, had a massive inventory, but they said 80% of their transactions were started or at some point had a search query attached to them. 80%. The average order value of a transaction which involved a search query was 10% up. The power of the search was so much, it also changed the taxonomy of the site based upon what they searched. I mean, it is a huge statistic, and for the purpose of this talk, there is some opportunity to get ahead. No silver bullet, no quick fix. We know search is important. By doing that, you can catch up and overtake your competitors. Now, the next thing would be ESP, good old-fashioned ESPs, right? 100% of people will have an ESP, I imagine, because we know it's such an essential channel. But these statistics might be interesting, and these ones come from .digital. Only 55% of retailers using marketing automation. So that means 45% aren't. 45% aren't doing an abandoned cart, replenishment campaign, welcome newsletter. Anything like that, 45% aren't. So this is about an engagement hub. If we are not listening to the signals of the search, if we are not recommending products based upon the customer data, if we are not sending communications out in a time and a channel that they want, it's not really going to be an engagement hub, right? So by using these things on the right-hand side, by deploying these tactics, it becomes one. The SMS marketing, I think this is a really interesting statistic. And it was interesting on Jamie's intro that he mentioned the statistic, if you remember, 51% of transactions are now on the mobile. So we reached that tipping point, finally, eventually, where mobile commerce is more than desktop commerce. But look at this, 39% SMS marketing, only 39%. If I tell you these two statistics, 98% read rate within 10 minutes, 90% read rate within about 10 seconds, and only 39% are using it. Now, the objection we normally get would be, and it'd be interesting to see what the reaction in the room here is, it's a bit intrusive. That's what we get, a bit intrusive. I'll tell you something now. Even my mother sends me WhatsApp, not text messages. WhatsApp is where your friends and family are. SMS is a marketing channel. If you look at your messages now on your SMS, it will all be marketing alerts, shipments reminders, notifications about sales. 39% are using that channel. There is a classic example of we're not looking for the new, we're just looking for a tactic which is out there to help drive the bottom line. Now, there are just 4 things that I pulled out, but what you've got on here is you've got a plethora of other tactics that could be used, and I could have gone on for this forever and forever and forever. Some of these you'll be familiar with, some might be different names than what you know, some may be new, but it'd be surprising if everybody here was doing all of them perfectly, right? That's the point. There will be some opportunities in here that might give a little 1% nudge over here, a 2% nudge over there. By putting in multiple ones, the sum of these gains is significant, and that is the prize. Now, I'm unapologetically now going to mention a few things about .digital, okay? But it helps the point I'm trying to make. So, these are a little bit of a deeper dive on some of those tactics I shared. So the first one here is subject line optimization. Remember, the context of this talk is around changing your website and your email to an engagement hub and engagement strategy. We know when you send an email that what's on that subject line is so vital. It determines probably more than anything what the open rate is, what the click-through rate is, what your ROI on the email is. And this here is a new tool we added in about a year ago. I don't know whether Amber's in the room, actually. She's our chief product manager, product director. We had it in a year ago, powered by Winston AI. And it is our fastest ever piece of feature, adoption feature. It's gone through the roof. And partly it's because it's so simple. Type in your subject line, click a button, boom, here's 10 recommendations. Which one do you want to use? And then it looks at your campaigns and gets smarter. I mean, we talk about easy, low-hanging fruit of tactics. This is one right here. Next up, one-time email to SMS conversion. So if you've done one of the beautiful things about email is it can be long, you can have images, you can have liquid scripting, all those beautiful things. But sometimes there is a difficult job turning it to 160 characters. How do you do that? I'll tell you now, you press a button and it does it for you. Automatic spelling, automatic grammar checking, and it sends out the same time as your email. One click. Now, if that's not an easy-to-use tactic, which might give you a little bit more percentage on your transactions, then please tell me what is. Now, to be an engagement hub, it also starts by customer data. How do you turn it into action? How do you understand your audience? One of the features that we know our customers love would be our customer dashboards and RFM. So the reason why we really like this one is because it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. The problem with big data, of course, is sometimes big analytics and insights is tricky. But here, we do the heavy lifting for you. We automatically put it into your champions. We auto make it easy to do the next marketing action and to also see what the trend is over time. It's a super nice tool, which again helps you make sure you're always sending the right content to the right person in the right channel. And then what do you do with that? So this is really, I think, the end goal here, especially for the websites. You've got all your customer data. It's integrated with all your various platforms. But then what do you want to do? Well, let's make sure that when they go to the website, we're not just putting out the same thing to everybody. We can look at the data and personalize the experience. And now we can personalize the web experience, but of course we can also personalize email, SMS, whatever you want to try to make the customer experience as good as it can be to increase all the things we know, reduce the bounce rate, increase the click-through rate, increase the average order value, etc. By personalizing the content with the customer data, we give ourselves that chance. Now, another way to look upon this would be take all those tactics we looked at, all these screen grabs, and if we try and just put that into a marketing funnel, we've got this. So I've stayed clear from saying what I think the likely percentages increases can be, because quite frankly, that depends on the product you're selling, the engagement rate of your customers, the quality of the tactics you do, etc., etc. But my point here would be the tactics I shared were just a drop in the ocean. But they can be deployed at various parts of the funnel. Maybe you might be responsible for the top half, maybe the bottom half. But if you can increase each section, you're giving yourself the best possible chance. So it could well be by putting exit intent on your popover, you increase your subscriber rate. Plus, of course, you know what they're interested in, so you can be more personalized in what your future communications are. Reducing the bounce rate is a perfect thing. If that goes down to 60%, down to 50%, you've got so many more sessions you can possibly yield revenue from. And the next part, the transactions and conversion. If you can increase the average order value, if you put in an abandoned cart campaign to rescue some lost carts, these all drive huge benefit, and all added up together are quite significant. And of course, it doesn't finish there. With the retention and loyalty piece at the end, you can restart that circle, which becomes really, really cost-effective. So, going back to the opening point, small gains can add up. I don't believe there's any silver bullet. Like everything, results is hard-earned by working hard consistently with skill. You want customer data, smart tech, smarter tactics equal an engagement hub, and put them together, they equal increased revenue. Now, with Magento, we know you've got the customer data part sorted. But the questions I've got is this. Are you utilizing all your customer data? Is your tech stack up to the job? And are you implementing the right tactics? Have you got answers to those things? If the answer is no, the chances are you're leaving money on the table. Right? We have seen this with our customers. We've got thousands of commerce customers. We've helped many of them drive increased revenues by those three things. So we can help with the tech, we can help with the resource, and we can certainly help with the expertise. So if you are struggling with those areas, we would love to talk to you. Shameless plug coming. Come and grab me at the end of the stage. We're in the sponsors marketplace. But we're saying this from helping customers over the course of the last 15 years. We would love to help you try and hopefully turn your website to an engagement hub to increase your revenue. Right, and that's my talk over. Hopefully that's been useful. Hopefully there's a few things there which has sparked the interest. And as I say, we're in the sponsors hall. We'd love to speak to you more. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.